that doing the mirror writing, the back to front writing, caused people to find him rather interesting and different. And he was a great showman. In everything he did, he was a showman. For instance, the aeroplane that he drew is now thought to have been for a stage production, and it wasn't actually a serious attempt to make an aeroplane fly, but it was used in a play that he did for one of the dukes. And I think that probably when he was a guy who used to wear purple clothes and walk down the street wearing silk purple sarongs or whatever was the style of the day. And obviously he was quite a character, quite an eccentric in some ways. And I think in fact that the mirror writing is due to his left-handedness, not due to any dyslexia as such. And he realized that there are comments from other people that when he sat down in a village and started writing and drawing, everyone would come around and look at him and think that it was something very weird because his writing was unreadable because it was back to front. So I think that's probably the true story. We're not sure, but that's probably the true story. You won't be able to read his writing unless you read mirror writing very easily.
Good morning to both speakers. I'm Isabel from the Medic. My field of teaching is medical microbiology, but my research is in cancer. And I've been following the colorectal cancer trial from New Zealand because I was under the tutelage of Dr. Ferguson. She's a very firm advocate of fiber-rich diet. And so that's where I got to know about dietary fiber, and there's all sorts, they've graded it differently. And then after that I went to Leicester, I did research in Leicester, and we're looking at different compounds. So I'm just wondering, in Singapore, what's the is there any research that look at specific compounds or phenolic acids or phytochemicals? Because when you talk about fiber-rich diet, there are all sorts in the fiber. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think at the moment it is best to look at fiber as a whole rather than individual compounds that might be related to fiber. I think to look at compounds, when I first did some basic research on colorectal cancer, I was with the Imperial Cancer Research Fund in London. We were looking at the bile salts or bile acids in colorectal cancer. True, it causes a certain number of cancers, but it's not a very significant when you compare it with the overall causes and reasons for cancer. Therefore, when we look at specific compound like phenolic acid or whatever, it doesn't add very much to the overall. What we know is that the mechanism of fiber, how it may protect us from cancer. One is that it has a dilutional effect. When you have carcinogens, all sorts of carcinogens in the colon, the fiber content, we have more fiber, you tend to dilute this kind of carcinogen. Secondly, it helps with constipation. If you have prolonged constipation, then you have more prolonged exposure of these carcinogens. So this is the mechanical effect. Then the chemical effect is that these fibers are then broken down by the bacteria in the gut, and it produces some kind of free fatty acids, which are very important fuel for the colonic cells, for the multiplication and viability of these colonic cells. And this again has some protective effect. So far, these are the things that people are looking at. In Singapore, there's nobody who is looking at specific chemical, either from food or from fiber that is a cause of colorectal cancer, because there are multiple carcinogens and there are nothing that is really one that is outstanding. At one time we thought it was bile salts, but it isn't really so. But it does give us some clinical knowledge and clinical ways of how to manage patients. For example, we know that people don't like surgery. And when you have gallstones, the best treatment for gallstones is surgery. Patients always ask, "Doctor, are there any drugs that you can use to treat gallstones?" I would say yes. Now, in Western countries, the gallstones are very different from ours. Well, no. Some of the gallstones are different from ours. Our gallstones usually have calcium, so they are very solid, they are not soluble. But a lot of Western gallstones is purely fat and cholesterol. So you can dissolve that. You can dissolve that by taking bile acids, certain bile acids. The interesting thing is that I would tell them, if you take this, you need to take it for 6 months. Then these soft gallstones will dissolve. But if you stop it, they'll come back again. And the other thing is that that's from one of my previous studies. We have shown that bile acids, too much bile acid in the colon can cause colorectal cancer. So I said, if you don't want to have surgery, you can take this, if you have the right gallstone, for 6 months. After 6 months, if you stop it, it will come back. And then if you have too long bile acids, you may get colorectal cancer. What do you want to do? So most people say, I will have surgery.
Morning, Dr. Thomas. Regarding the colorectal cancer, it was mentioned that USA is the only country which could reduce the incidence of colorectal cancer by colonoscopy scanning.
Sorry, I don't quite get what you are trying to...
I mean, you mentioned that USA is the only country which could reduce the incidence of colorectal cancer.
It's coming down, yes.
Because of the screening.
Yes.
Is it true, or is it that only the mortality could be brought down?
No. We think that information is quite accurate because from the lifestyle point of view, as you know, the Americans' lifestyle point of view is the major example how to get colorectal cancer. If you move from here to America, they used to have a high incidence, and they have not changed their lifestyle very much. They have not. But what is very significant is that the screening for them, they are very, very acceptance of colonoscopic screening, more than anybody else. In 2006, the Senate passed a law that all colonoscopies, all insurance companies, all the Blue Shields or whatever, must pay for colonoscopy. And that really make a tremendous difference. They all have some kind of insurance. Yeah. If you go to Singapore today, quite a lot of the insurance companies won't pay for screening colonoscopy. They say it's not a disease. So I think this information is true.
What I understood is that colonoscopy can detect the cancer, but it doesn't prevent.
It does. What I'm saying is that nearly all colorectal cancers, if not all, come from polyps. Polyps are asymptomatic, and polyps are not cancerous. But some of these polyps grow to become cancers. If you have no polyps, you don't have colorectal cancer. If you have polyps and you remove the polyps,